This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Penn, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shannon Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fan, the Preacher Man.
Well, welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Joe to the Great Fan, the Preacher Man, and Shannon Jones.
My goodness gracious, man. It's so good to be here.
Yeah, man, you've been off location so long.
Man, I've been with the water. Water behind this.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's when I was on the beach. And then, you know, the storm.
Don't change the beach when I come.
The storms came, man, and were raging, so I had to, come out that beach. Yes, sir. I had to come off that beach.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be in studio with my main man, Greg Fan, the Preacher Man, the Bishop.
Well, thank you so very much. I'm glad to have you. But, last week's program, we got quite a few comments, and I want to just kind of read them if I can find them. I call myself, saving them for I can read them today. We had so many comments last week. Well, at least a few. I just want to read a couple. Yeah.
Were they all about Miss C?
No, they weren't about Miss C. They was about you.
Comments about me?
Me and you. And no, actually, really about.
Nothing that's going to.
No. Really, the comment. No, the comments basically really was about what we talked about last week in terms of the issue of the January 6th thing and the lies that's being told and how they dealt with the young lady and her mother because, accusing them of stuffing ballots, Donald Trump. And they were just saying, it was wrong. It was hurtful. They shouldn't have done it. They feel sorry for the individual, the two ladies, and they're in prayer for them. And it's just.
Did they agree that this was treason?
They agree that Donald Trump ought to go to jail. Basically, the basic sentiment is that Donald Trump and his cronies should go to jail.
Well, I hope we discuss this week about how he's going to try to take the steering wheel from the Secret Service and all that stuff.
Well, I had all that in terms of a video, and what we're going to do right now before we get to Miss C, we're going to show it. How about it?
Let's go do that. Miss C, you just give us 1 second. We'll be to you in just a moment, our sister.
I remember looking at him and saying, Rudy, could you explain what's happening on the 6th? He had responded something to the effect of, we're going to the Capitol. It's going to be great. The president's going to be there. He's going to look powerful. He's going to be with the members. He's going to be with the senators. Talk to the chief about it. Talk to the chief about it. He knows about it. I just had an interesting conversation with Rudy. Mark, sounds like we're going to go to the Capitol. He didn't look up from his phone and said something to the effect of, there's a lot going on, Cass, but I don't know. Things might get real bad on January 6th. But when we were in the offstage announce tent, I was part of a conversation. I was in the vicinity of a conversation where I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't effing care that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing mags away. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol from here. Let the people in. Take the effing mags away. I saw Mr. Cipollone right before I walked out onto West Exec that morning, and Mr. Cipollone said something to the effect of, please make sure we don't go up to the Capitol, Cassidy. Keep in touch with me. We're going to get charged with every crime imaginable if we make that movement happen. The president said something to the effect of, I'm the effing president. Take me up to the Capitol now. To which Bobby responded, sir, we have to go back to the West Wing. The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol. Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel. And I remember Pat saying to him something to the effect of, the rioters have gotten to the Capitol, Mark. We need to go down and see the president now. And Mark looked up at him and said, he doesn't want to do anything, Pat. And Pat said something to the effect of, and very clearly had said this to Mark, something to the effect of, Mark, something needs to be done or people are going to die and the blood's going to be on your effing hands. I remember Pat saying something to the effect of, Mark, we need to do something more. They're literally calling for the vice president to be effing hung. And Mark had responded something to the effect of, you heard him, Pat. He thinks Mike deserves it. He doesn't think they're doing anything wrong. The valet had articulated that the president was extremely angry at the Attorney General's AP interview and had thrown his lunch against the wall.
Did Rudy Giuliani ever suggest that he was interested in receiving a presidential pardon related to January 6th?
He did.
Ms. Hutchison, did White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows ever indicate that he was interested in receiving a presidential pardon related to January 6th?
Mr. Meadows did seek that pardon. Yes, ma'am.
Boy, deep. I mean, they're not coming for me. Let them come on in with the weapons. Don't take their weapons. Don't
take the magnetometers
down. Yeah, don't
let them go.
Let them go.
And let them go on to the Capitol.
Yeah, they ain't here for me.
Well, they're not coming to kill me. They are coming to kill.
Yeah, but they ain't coming for me.
But not me.
Yeah, they ain't coming for me. No. They coming because I told them to come.
I told them to come.
I told them.
I told them to come the way they come.
And that's the way they came. Yeah. I mean, and grab the steering wheel too. He's just gonna go to the Capitol anyhow.
This man is making Nixon look like an archangel.
Oh man, Nixon, an archangel. He's looking like, the best president that ever been a Republican president compared to him.
Goodness gracious.
Jesus Christ.
This is something, and now, she was the youngest and they say most inexperienced member of the staff. Wall Street Journal said she's now 25 years old.
Right.
But she was 23, 24 when this was going on.
Right.
And I don't think she has any reason to sit here and lie. Perjure herself before the United States Congress. I don't. And this is some serious stuff.
It's
Man, what would we have been without this committee?
Well, let me just say this to you. You and I committed in January when they formed this committee, we were going to be on this until the onion is peeled back and everything is exposed and that people will know really what's going on.
To the eyes water.
Hey, listen, they need
to the eyes water.
They need, and this right here is exposing what Mr. Trump, Mr. Giuliani, and there are others, even Mr. Meadows, and more is to come, as Mr. Cheney said, more is to come. People are threatening people's lives and everything.
Ooh, did you hear that?
I heard that.
Sound like some mafia stuff.
It sounds like it. Well,
I mean,
what did you say about?
A friend of ours would appreciate if you did. We know you're loyal. We know you're going.
Yeah, but no.
So what happens if I don't do it? Are you going?
You know what you're gonna do. Your arm's gonna be broken. Are we threatening your wife and your family, your children, just like they did for Mr. Russenberger, right? Just like they did for his assistants, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, man. So ain't nothing new. So there's more to come. Don't go nowhere. There's more to come. We as American people, we have to save our country. If we want this country to continue to be a country, the land of the free, the brave, and all the things, the cliches that we say that we are, if we want that, then we got to fight for that. And we got to go to the polls and vote. And we got to demand that justice happen, that something happened to Mr. Trump and those who are upholding Mr. Trump in his wrong. And we need to applaud those who have come out to tell the truth, those Republicans who have come out to tell the truth about what really went on. Well, we're going to go on the other side now. We'll listen to Ms. C, and she's going to be here with Straight Talk News, and Shannon and I will be back.
You remember what G. Gordon Liddy said?
What?
When he was in the Watergate, he said, "Don't kill my children, but I'll go and stand on a street corner. You all can have an assassin shoot me."
Well, I don't remember.
I thought that was crazy when I read about that.
I don't remember hearing about all
They
that.
actually do all this.
They do. You think? Well, listen, we'll see you on the other side. Now we're going to Miss C. Miss C. Miss C. Miss C.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast or more. Hey Shannon, hey Greg, hope you all are doing well. It's so good to see you. Anyway, you're invited to worship online with New Zion Baptist Church every Sunday at 11 a.m. You can also join them on Wednesdays at noon, and that's via Facebook. You go to facebook.com/New Zion Baptist Church. The pastor is Jarius Dorsey. Coming to the Douglasville Event Center at 6700 Church Street in Douglasville is the Launch Out into the Deep Bag Lady Collaborative Book Luncheon, and that will be held July 14th. And I'm a part of that. I'm a contributor to the book that's going to be launched. There are 12 of us that contributed our life stories to be included in the book that's going to be released. And so that's going to be July 14th, beginning at 9:45 a.m. And the guest speaker during the morning session will be Dr. Tanda Canyon. She's going to bring the word. It's an all-day event. Now, the morning session will include music, ministry, and a lunch. And the evening session begins at 6:45 p.m. with guest speaker Dr. Yvonne Capehart. Now, if you want more information, you can visit bagladybag.com, and everything is on the website that you need, you know, how to register and whatever. So go to bagladybag.com, or you can call Prophetess Sandy Sneed at 678-886-9507. That's 678-886-9507. All right, and we have one more piece of interest. That's going to be the City of East Point invites you to Wednesday Wine Down, and that's going to be held. You have a couple of more dates that you can attend. That's July 27th and August 24th, and it's from 5 to 9 p.m. in the Downtown Commons at 2714 East Point Street in East Point. Now, East Point also invites you to their Fresh Farmers Market. You're going to have local and sustainable produce. You can visit downtowneastpoint.com for more information. That's downtowneastpoint.com. Don't you just love fresh fruit and vegetables? There is nothing like it. Anyway, if you'd like for us to announce your events, your family reunion, church reunion, class meeting, anything, just send it to us by email. You can send it to straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalknews1362@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to announce it. Now listen, there are 4 things that I'd like for you to do, and I hope that I can get them all in, okay? Okay, first thing I'd like for you to do is to like us. I'd like for you to subscribe to us. And thirdly, leave us some comments. Let us know how we're doing. We would love to hear from you. And fourth, share it. Share this broadcast with other people. I'm sure they'd like to know what's happening around the city also. And we're going to see you next time. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, week, whatever, till we meet again. Okay? Bye.
Well, thank you, Miss C, with Straight Talk News and the information. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to like us. Don't forget to share. And don't you dare forget to make comments. We want to hear from you. Listen, we have a special guest today. His name is William McGee. He's the president of the Richmond, Virginia chapter of SCLC. And he'll be talking to us about voting and the importance of voting in the off-year election in November. Don't you go nowhere. You stay right there as we hear from President McGee. All right, I'm Greg Fan, the preacher man, and you listen to, as always, we always try to have one of the best programs or the better programs that you could ever want to hear. Give you a lot of information. And today I have my good friend, fellow classmate, fellow band member, now the president of the Richmond, Virginia chapter of the SCLC, Atlanta born, Atlanta bred, and now he's in Virginia doing a great job in Richmond. And I want to just introduce today Brother William McGee. I will call him Ford. Hey, Bill, how you doing today, man?
Hey, brother, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
It's William Ford McGee, and to all my brothers and sisters in Atlanta who call me Ford, I have no problem with it.
You've been Ford.
And a lot of them call me Ford.
You've been Ford ever since I know you've been Ford. I didn't even know your name was William. I always call you Ford.
Or McGee, right?
Oh, McGee.
McGee or Ford, one of those others.
But anyway,
So when I came back to Virginia, I changed my name to get rid of all that funny stuff.
Well, you're doing a great job, man. I'm really proud of you and the work that you're doing there. Standing up for injustice. I knew you here in Atlanta, and you were part of dealing with a lot of things as a young man, and now you exemplifying that as a father, as a grandfather, as a leader in your community there. So I want to just talk about some things that you're doing with the chapter there in Virginia, in Richmond.
Well, let me give you a little background.
Sure.
I guess for years, I'm so proud of you. I've told you that so many times. It gets to be redundant, but I am. It's from the heart. So for years, I'd been resisting going into the ministry for whatever I, just didn't want to. And then one night, God spoke to me and said, "Hey, I want you to go into ministry. Stop playing around." So I turned over to my wife and I said, God wants me to go into the ministry. And she said, "He does." I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, what does he want you to do?" I said, "I don't know yet. I'll tell you when he lets me know." So what happened is, since I've always been involved with young people, just in general, my life has worked around young people as an educator. I decided to become a youth minister to work with young people and try to encourage them to do the right thing and to get involved. So as I was riding down the road one day, it just struck me, said, "Why not get involved in SCLC?" He said, the dynamics, the synergy of my life, Greg, has been centered around SCLC, and your life too, because we all grew up on the west side of Atlanta. And of course, Dr. King lived right there on Sunset. I went to Oglethorpe, and Martin and Yolanda were at Oglethorpe while I was there. So we used to see Mrs. King or Dr. King all the time, come and pick them up school. We attended Ebenezer in the 60s whenever Dr. King was speaking. People in Atlanta, they found out that Dr. King was going to be at Ebenezer on Sunday. Man, that place was packed because he was a rising star. He wasn't the star yet that he became. But 63, 64, 65, anytime we got a chance to go hear Dr. King speak, we would do that. Lived right down the street from Pascal's. Remember specifically getting one of them chicken dinners.
Oh, man.
And you know how famous those Pascal's chicken dinners were, man.
Oh my God, the sandwiches was out of the sight.
Oh man. So a lot of the chicken, that's right. So a lot of people don't know, who didn't grow up at that time with us. The Dr. Abernathy's church was a rock throw from Pascal's. You could just throw a rock. So, and then Sunset was right around the corner. So it had, on a number of occasions, Dr. King, Dr. Abernathy, Reverend Y.T. Walker, C.T. Vivian, or whoever it was, they would be sitting there in Pascal's having dinner at the church on Sunday. We lived on Morris Brown's campus. We would just walk up the street or ride up the street and have dinner at Pascal's. My life had always been centered around that same environment where SCLC was born. And then, like you said, as a young man, around 70 or 71, I remember when Hosea Williams was leading the picket on, it was either Sears on Ponce or either one of those Searses, the one on, was it on Ponce or
It was
was
on
it
Ponce
on?
de Leon. Ponce de Leon. It was
Yeah.
Ponce de Leon.
So I went down to Reverend Hosea's church and got indoctrinated on the nonviolent, protest and how we would go and how we would behave ourselves. And we were trained. And then we went out there and we picketed, right? Well, some young white guys in a GTO. I remember that goat boy. That thing came rolling over us. And myself and some of the other younger guys going like, I don't know about this nonviolent thing. I know they trained us not to want to, but we wanted to. You know how we were. We wanted to have a little something to say. But that basically, my mission with SCLC is something that I think I inherited just because I was there in Atlanta when the organization really developed and did all the things it could do. So here in Richmond, when I approached the organization about getting involved, they had been dormant for quite some time. They really weren't doing a whole lot. And that's true in many of our legacy organizations all country. Well, I told them that the struggle continues and we need to get this thing together and get some young people involved. I said, I want to be the director of youth recruitment. They said, that sounds great. And then about a month later, 2 later, they said, look, why don't you be president instead? I said, president? I said, I'm just trying to recruit some young people. We think president. So to make a long story short, back in February, I was elected president. And my agenda is recruiting young people to join, and voter education, voter empowerment, and fighting against voter suppression. And so that's really, really, really what we're doing here in Richmond. We're working on getting young people involved in the movement and letting everybody know how important it is to vote.
Well, one of the things I appreciate, what you said in terms of, how you got to be who you are and who you are around. I grew up in West Sumner. Reverend Abernathy, licensed ordained by him, so I understand exactly what you're talking about. So I want to get to this voting thing though. The late Reverend Abernathy Love started, and he was a part of SCLC back in the day as a young recruit. The Reverend Abernathy Love, and he started a group called Voter Empowerment Collaborative, which I'm now the chairman of that group after his deceased. He's deceased now. And so there was 3 pillars that we dealt with, and that was two of you that you mentioned was inspiration, involvement, and it was inspiration, involvement, and getting people motivated in terms of motivating people to vote, motivating people to want to get out and vote. And I know, when we came along, we wanted to vote, but no doubt about it. We wanted to vote. When we turned 18, we were busted loose to go vote, right?
Absolutely.
Because we wanted to vote. Because at the time, we talking about Kennedy being killed, we talking about King being killed. When we turned 18, we were ready to vote. And people like Hosea Williams and Joe Boone and many, many others was encouraging us. We got to vote. We got to vote. And we went out in record numbers and voted and voted and voted. But it seems, and I know you're working with youth in Richmond, but it seems a period of laxation or non-concern about voting. And we see all the stuff that's going on in the country, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, that's happening now, and people are getting disenchanted with, the election process. Donald Trump told them there was a lot of lies about the election was stolen and what have you. So how are you combating that in Richmond with your young people, getting them to want to go out and register people to vote and vote?
Well, the word that you were working around was the word of apathy. Mm-hmm. People have become apathetic. They don't seem to care, and they don't understand. So one of the things that we're working on is voter education. You know, empowerment is one thing. That's encouraging somebody, motivating somebody, and trying to get people to understand. But one of the problems that we've identified is that many people, not just young people, they don't understand the government and how the government works. And therefore, when we have off-year elections, they don't show up to vote in the Senate elections. Well, most of them don't understand that Senate seats are statewide, number one. I hear everybody talk about gerrymandering as a problem. Okay, guess what? You can't gerrymander a Senate seat because Senate seats are statewide. And if everybody understands that Senate seats become some of the most important off-year elections because they do what? They certify Supreme Court justices. They're the ones that the president nominates. But if the Senate doesn't approve that justice, they don't get on the bench. And as we've seen recently, the fact that we sat home and didn't vote in off-year elections allowed certain people, a certain number of senators, to be elected that turned around and gave Donald Trump the opportunity to appoint 3 Supreme Court justices. 3, that's crazy. You see what I'm saying? Now, Mitch McConnell, through hook or crook, kept Merrick Garland from getting on the bench. All right, but if we would vote more in these off-year elections, if we would teach people, so to answer your question, we got a lot of voter education to do, Greg. Mm-hmm. You know, and excuse me, Bishop.
That's all right. That's fine. Listen, I'm Greg Fan, the preacher, man. Everybody know I'm a preacher. That's good.
Okay. Well, we go back so far that we still know which flavor Boone's Farm was available back in the day. So,
don't you know
because there was one flavor when we came up. All right. So here's the deal. We have to empower and educate. That is my thing, man, because here's the thing a lot of people don't realize, Bishop Fan. 80.85 million people did not vote in the last presidential election. 80.85 million. More people stayed at home than voted for Donald Trump. I can't, in my mind, understand with all the dire problems we had, why 80 million people didn't see the importance of voting. I don't understand that. Nobody can. So again, what I'm saying is we got to start educating folk how important their vote is, because Georgia basically saved the country last year when they elected their 2 Democratic senators. Georgia saved the country, because had Georgia not elected the 2 senators they elected, we would be in a world of hurt right now, even if Biden was president. Right now, we're still in a world of hurt because of that knucklehead from West Virginia. But what I'm trying to tell people, I'm telling people right now, if the Senate election with Warnock, it's more important than the presidential election.
It is.
It is. It's extremely important. People got to understand senators do things on the federal judiciary, and they're the ones that approve the nominations of federal judges. The GOP has undermined the federal bench so badly under Trump that we don't know how long the repercussions are going to last. They might last 50 to 60 years. Because here's what people don't understand. They're lifetime appointments.
Right.
These people get on the bench for life. And if I appoint a 40-year-old unqualified judge to sit on a federal bench, who the only qualification he has is that he's a conservative, then for the next 35 years, he's going to be representing that conservative ideology and doing things like what they just did in changing cases on the SCOTUS and everything. Go ahead, Greg, because I know.
Man. But I just wanted to. We did a segment. My co-host, not Shannon. We did a segment around the benches, the federal benches, people look at the Supreme Court as being, that's the Supreme Court. No, you just brought
Right.
up a very valid point. You have federal judges on every level in every state and
Right.
district. So
Right.
those people make rulings about laws, and many times many people are sentenced to long sentences because they're federal laws that they're violated. So what they have done is they have stacked the lower courts as
Absolutely.
well as the Supreme Court. That's what people have don't understand. But that's the point that you're making, is that we did a segment educating people on that very, very fact, as well as gerrymandering too. But we educated people on that very, very fact of what you just said, which is very important. The courts make decisions. What's his name? R. Kelly just got 30 years, right?
Right.
You received a 30-year sentence because some judge sentenced him to 30 years in jail. 30 years in jail. Now, I'm not upholding R. Kelly and what he did was right, but I'm just saying is, but a judge, one man or one woman has that
Absolutely.
power when they get on that bench to sentence people. And then these judges on the lower level, they have to run every 4 years. But the federal judges are appointed to
federal
life.
judges,
They're
that's
appointed
right.
to life. Yeah.
And see, what other people don't know is that the process going from the federal judge, if you lose a case in the state court, you can
Right.
appeal it to federal court.
Right.
Federal court picks it up. Even if you lose it in federal court, you can appeal it to the appellate court.
Right.
That's the federal appellate court. Those
Right.
judges are also appointed by the Senate.
Absolutely.
By the president, and then they're confirmed by the Senate. So it can get knocked down in the appellate court, sent back, squashed. That's it. Doesn't even get to the Supreme Court. Then you bring it again, say the appellate court agrees with you and says this case has merit, and then it's appealed to the Supreme Court.
Correct.
Well, now you got this 6-3 majority in the Supreme Court. I just tell everybody, understand and study Plessy versus Ferguson. Understand all those. There's so many Supreme Court cases historically that pushed us. I tell everybody, this is the rise of Jim Crow 2.0, because with the 6-3 conservative majority on the court, all kind of things can be reversed. All kind of things can be. People who think people who married because they're same-sex marriage, tell them watch out. Watch out, because the Supreme Court could turn around and try to invalidate that.
Right. Well,
There are a lot of
Clarence Thomas already talking about invalidated. I mean, come on. We already know that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's already going on. We have got to wake up, really. And right now, we're at a point for that you were accurate in your statement. We're at a point now. A lot of the judges that he's appointed, they're in their 30s or 40s. They'll be there from now
young and
on.
unqualified.
Unqualified. They're going for and because they're Republicans, they were Republicans. Let's just say like they were Republicans. And so what they did was they appointed young Republican conservatives to the bench. Now,
Absolutely.
and
And
that's
because we didn't understand, we don't as a whole understand what the Senate does.
right.
The Senate was allowed to approve that. So now what I'm telling everybody is, as a part of your voter empowerment, your voter education, we need to tell everybody you cannot sit back nowhere in the country when there's a Senate seat up for election. Now I'll get to the House if we have time.
No, but let's stay right there. Let's stay right here on the Senate part
right.
of it, because if people think about it, the John Lewis bill, the Voter Right Act, and the Voter Right Act,
Right.
Congress passed it, but it got to
Yes,
the
they did.
Senate because the Senate shot it down. The Senate shot it down, along with your senator up there, Joe Manchin, and Christie Sherman. They shot it down. There were two Democrats that was against it too. But I'm just saying is, but they had the power.
But Senate, even one senator has a power to hold a bill up.
One.
And that's what everybody doesn't understand. They just don't understand if you knew how important senators were and how powerful they are, you would be more inclined to go vote in off-year elections than you would be presidential elections. All right. Now, I need everybody to vote for president,
Right.
but I really need you to vote when there's a Senate seat up. Because again, if we there, okay, Greg, here we go. There's
Okay.
33 Senate seats up this year.
Right there.
33 Republican Senate seats up. There are 33 Republican Senate seats up this year, if I'm not mistaken. If we could turn, if it's not, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 33.
Okay.
But let's put it this way. If we could flip 10 Republican seats and get a majority, like a 60 vote majority in the Senate, we could change everything. We could change all of the problems that the president is coming across and everything else. We could change all of that. We could even fix the House stuff, because anything the House passes, if they flip over to a Republican majority, if we've got enough votes in the Senate,
Can hold it up.
anything the Republicans do, that's not going to happen.
Hold it up. Hold it up.
That's not going to happen. In Virginia right now, let me share you this right now. In
Okay.
Virginia right now,
Okay.
I've been semi-depressed because Virginia allowed Republicans to win a seat that we've had for 8 years. The Virginia governor now is a Republican. And we lost that by a small margin when Terry McAuliffe basically said something out of his mouth he shouldn't have said, and he just gave those people an excuse to deal with it. But in Virginia, we maintained the Senate by 2 votes. All right? That has squashed all the crazy stuff the Republican governor has tried to do by way of legislation. He's been able to do some things by a gubernatorial edict or an act,
Right.
saying this policy, do that, do this. But as far as passing laws, because we have a two vote majority in the Virginia Senate, they squashed all that mess. They tried to repeal gun stuff. They tried to do a whole lot of underhanded mess. Virginia, under the progressive and when the Democrats win, they changed the voting laws to make Virginia a very easy place to vote. For instance, you don't need an excuse to get a mail-in ballot, and you can sign up online to get all of your ballots mailed to you permanently. So, for instance, I went online and said, always mail me my ballot.
Right.
All right. I don't even go to the polls anymore to vote. I tell you why. When I get my mail-in ballot and I fill it out, I hand deliver it to the registrar's office.
Right.
Well, guess what, Bishop? For young folks like you and I, they have a drive-up service where somebody will come to the car and get your ballot. A certified poll worker will come to the car, get your ballot, give you your voting sticker, take it inside. And you can get online that same evening to make sure your ballot was turned in.
All right. All right. All right. All right.
You know, that's some real, I mean, so you don't even have to worry about whether or not they turned your ballot in, because and that's the way they keep people from voting twice. Your ballot has a barcode on the envelope. You have 2 envelopes. You put the ballot, seal it up, then you put it in another envelope that has a barcode on it. And when you turn that in, they scan it, and it says to the computer, we have received William McGee's ballot.
Right.
And when I go online, it says your ballot was turned in today. 5 minutes, Greg. For the last 3 elections, it took me 5 minutes to vote.
5 whole minutes. But
5
you know what?
minutes.
You know what? Boy, we can talk about this all day and
Absolutely.
tomorrow and tomorrow. But we want to encourage people, though. We want to encourage people. Wherever you are, whether you're in Virginia, whether you're in Georgia, whether you're in Florida, whether you're in Tennessee, whether you're in Alabama, Mississippi, California,
Right.
wherever you are, Illinois, wherever you are in this country, make sure that these Senate races are up. Make sure that you go to the poll and vote. One key point that we must make before we leave about these Senate seat, they serve for 6 years. They don't run every 4 years. They serve for 6 years. So they got a 6-year term to mess up things. So it's important. It's important that you go to the polls and that you vote in this Senate race. Make sure who you're voting for are people that really are social conscious and looking out for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. Well, I want to thank Brother McGee for being with us today. And Brother McGee,
Thank you, brother. Look, I
yeah.
hope you'll have me back
I'm gonna
because
have you
we
back.
still got we got a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah, you coming back. The only reason you won't come back,
All
you
right.
won't come back.
No, I'll come back. I'll come back to you. What I would like to say in closing to your audience is
Sure.
educate yourselves on government. Do go back and remember what you had in high school and remember what the three branches are and learn what they do and how they work. And then you'll realize, gerrymandering is one thing, but gerrymandering is only for a specific district, depending on whatever. So even with that district, like look at Lucy McBath. You'll say even in a district, if you get out there and you get enough people to show up to vote, you can win even in a gerrymandered district. But you got to educate yourselves and want to know. The biggest problem, Bishop, is a lot of people act like it's something that they really not interested in, and we're talking about the future of this country, man.
Absolutely.
Jim Crow 2.0 is people don't understand. We can go back to segregation. If the federal law changes, there's nothing stopping them from reversing the segregation law. They're already talking that crazy Clarence Todd was talking about Brown versus Board of Education. There's nothing to stop them because it was the federal judiciary who codified the civil rights law and who codified Brown versus Board of Education. And if the Supreme Court with a 6-3 conservative majority says, we're not going to do this and we're not going to do that anymore, my man, the fight is on again, Bishop. The fight is on.
Hey, but one thing we did right, that's when we began to fight. Fight on. And that's what they said.
Fight on.
Fight on. We got to keep on fighting. And the most powerful tool that we have is the ballot box. So let's vote. Let's vote. Well, thank you for it. You will be back and we'll talk more about voting and more about the issues that face this country. God bless you, my brother.
Thank you, my brother. God bless you.
All righty. Well, we thank the president of the Richmond, Virginia chapter of the SLC, Brother Ford McGee, for joining us today, all the way from Richmond, Virginia. And awesome
He
conversation.
almost could be the national president.
Well, I tell you, he's great. He's great. He's from here, he's long bred, land fed, and they stand in Virginia. And he grew up around, Dr. King, Reverend Abner, the movement. He grew up around the movement. He hung out at Pastor Brothers a little bit,
Okay.
That when Pastor was Pastor. That's when they were serving no white girl on fire salmon, chicken salmon. You don't know that before your time.
What's it called? What?
White girl on fire. So when you
White
order
girl on fire.
right, when you order white girl on fire chicken salmon, that means white meat with hot sauce on a chicken and a chicken sandwich. That was called. Yes,
There would
sir.
be a boneless breast.
No, it'd be the real thing. No boneless. With no boneless
Sandwich
chicken.
in between two.
Yeah, lettuce and tomatoes, boy. With
You eat the thing and the bones.
oh man.
How you get around the bones?
Hey man, black folks like
Spit the bone out. Like, stick the whole thing in and spit the bone out.
Spit the bone out, man. That when Pastor had that good chicken. But let me just say this:
White
as
girl on fire.
we get ready to conclude today, we want
Then
to thank you so much.
Order that little
Thank you, Brother Ford, again so much for joining us. He's going to join us in future segments and talk about things that's going on, voting rights, and why we need to vote, and why we need to educate our young people to vote, and we need to get to the polls to vote for the candidate of choice. We need to vote. Voting is very, very important. And he was saying, Shannon, as you heard, he was talking about learn the different branches of government and the power that each branch controls, right? I mean, all politics is local.
Local branches.
Yeah, all politics is local. But even in local politics, there's still branches of government and powers the governor have, powers the Speaker of the House have, powers that representatives have, and senators have, even in our local legislative body, right? So those things you need to know. And for one thing, if you're going to run for office, first thing you need to do is learn Robert's Rules of Order and how to run and conduct a meeting and conduct yourself in a meeting to get things done in a proper fashion.
But wait, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So, with all of this, with the co-equal branches of government on the federal,
Sure.
governors, senators, state senators, representatives, county commissioners,
Sure.
all of that, the true power of all of that is the voter.
It's a voter. It's a voter.
That's something to think about.
But if you weren't so powerful, why are they trying to stop people from
Why they
voting?
trying to stop you from
And then why do they spend millions and millions of dollars in commercials to convince you to vote for them? If the vote wasn't that powerful,
I just want people to understand that, you're running off after a senator or running off after a congressperson. They work for you.
they work for you. They work
You're the
for you.
stakeholder of America.
You are. If you wasn't a stakeholder of America, they come to you and ask you to employ them. Your vote determines whether or not they're hired or whether or not they're fired. Whether or not not fired, hired, fired, and not even accepted as an employee. So there's three categories. They can be hired, they can be fired, or not accepted as an employee. Because if you lose, they're not accepting you as an employee. If you lose when you run for re-election,
Yeah.
that means you've been fired.
That's right. And just today, the Republicans came on and asked me to vote against Warnock, vote for Herschel, and make him.
Well, let me just say this, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to get out of
You
here,
told me not to
I want to just say to you, don't forget to send your comments. Don't
gonna teach
forget.
them how to
Don't
read.
forget to like us.
Am I
Don't
supposed
forget
to teach them how
to
to
share
read?
us. Don't forget
So they
to
can
like
do
us,
Robert's
share
Rule
us,
of Order?
subscribe to us. Don't forget
I
to
don't
do
need
any of
to talk
those
about Robert's
things.
Rule. Robert's
And
Rule. We gotta follow Robert's Rule.
as we get ready to
Of
go,
order.
send your comments, send your requests, your news and information to Straight Talk at Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. And this has been Nobody But Yours
Catch
Truly,
your
Greg
ball.
Van,
Catch your ball.
the Preacher Man, and Shannon E.
Catch your ball.
Jones.
You can catch a vote.
Until next week, may God bless you and keep you, and you ain't been
better
tuning in
wake up.
nothing but what? Straight Talk!
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Van at FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shannon Jones and Greg Van, the Preacher Man.